Hello, my name is Antonio Davila, and welcome to my video regarding the militarization of police. The militarization of police has been a very interesting topic across the United States. It has had several different opinions from civilians and law enforcement officers, depending on what side of the spectrum of the government spectrum you side with. When you think about militarization of police, you might think of something like this. This photograph is an accurate representation of what militarizing the police looks like. Being a current law enforcement officer for the US government, I feel it's imperative to continue militarizing the police in efforts to provide safety and security for everyone in the United States. Some individuals might not think the same way, and obviously that's okay, that's their opinion. They provided some backlash, their voices have been heard, and it's gone all the way up to creating protests. Our ultimate goal would be to ensure that we still have a law enforcement entity that is militarized to handle high level, high threat situations while maintaining a safe environment for individuals in the United States. By no means will this be easy. This is going to have to take a lot of effort from both sides. The law enforcement and civilian entities will have to work together collaboratively to make this happen. Now, one of the biggest things to change is a perception. Civilians have a perception that militarizing the police is unsafe, is untrustworthy, is causing more harm than good. So changing the culture, changing the work ethic behind it is key, and it's probably one of the biggest things that will have to happen in efforts to continue moving forward. In order for militarizing the police to start moving in the right direction, there has to be a major event that changes the culture. That major event is training. Training is one of the largest components to the success of a group of individuals. Consistent training of police officers can provide a positive result in high stressful and high aggressive situations. A perfect example right now would be the mass media news outlets that are putting out videos of the reactions of untrained officers. Those reactions cause serious bodily harm and even death. An advocacy group that has stepped forward and attempted to assist in the militarization of police would be the National Alliance of Law Enforcement Support. The National Alliance of Law Enforcement Support has reached out to provide resources to train law enforcement entities that have a militarized group. The National Alliance of Law Enforcement Support has its work cut out for them. Basically, ever since the inception of militarizing the police, they've received bad publicity. Individuals believe that police departments should move away from having SWAT teams and riot control teams, and that they should rather be servant leaders in the community. One thing that author Araceli Marquez reported in her Scholastic journal was in the Scholastic journal called The Rise of Police Militarization and Impact on Civilians, is that some have argued that paramilitary forces have detrimental effects because they fail to perform their basic core functions of police, which is maintaining law and order. This is true to a certain extent. What they're failing to highlight is not every situation is considered a core function. There are some situations that require a higher level of force, and that's where militarized police come in. Another stereotype that's commonly used is that militarized police have a much more aggressive impact on on ethnic groups, such as African American groups and Hispanics. According to Jessica Kettenstein in her scholastic journal, The Wars Are Here, How the United States Post 9/11 Wars Helped Militarize the United States Police, she wrote that SWAT teams, which derive tactics from and equipment from the military, are disproportionately used in African American groups and Hispanic groups in raids. This again is a one-sided statement. One reason why United States citizens react the way they do regarding militarization of police is the implementation of mass media outlets who push a narrative of only certain video clips, certain sound bites. Right now, in this time frame that we currently live in, it's so easy just to log on to the internet, open up a web browser, and start seeing news clips of situations that only highlight the negative parts, which is the SWAT teams breaking down a door, riot control teams preventing a riot from becoming, getting out of control. It's not, you can't really say that it's fair, but it's an advantage that certain advocacy groups have. This was a very big game changer for both advocacy groups and mass media news outlets that were pushing a negative narrative. What they failed to mention is why the militarization of police was heavily pushed after the devastating attacks of 9/11. Dr. Cynthia A. Brown provided a great demonstration in her journal, Divided Loyalties, Ethical for America's Law Enforcement in Post 9/11 America. She went on to quote George W. Bush, "And every American is a soldier, and every citizen is in this fight." She also quoted, "We will direct every resource at our command, every means of diplomacy, every tool of intelligence, every instrument of law enforcement, every financial influence, and every necessary weapon of war to the disruption and the defeat of global war on terror, global war network." This was instrumental in providing safety across the United States. However, it was never mentioned by these advocacy groups and mass media outlets. This leads us to one of the beautiful things regarding living in the United States, is that everyone is capable of having their own views and beliefs regarding militarized police. Aside from the narratives that are being pushed around of police agencies using SWAT teams to do search warrants, using riot control groups in an aggressive manner, militarized police only affecting certain ethnic groups, people have the ability to make that their own decision on how they feel about militarized police. A great example is the study that was conducted by Philip Wyrick. He conducted a study in his scholastic journal, Police Militarization, Attitudes Towards the Militarization of the American Police. He conducted a study with a total of 103 graduate students. The breakdown was he had 34 males, which was 33%, 69 females, which was 67%, 13 freshmen, 5 sophomores, 21 juniors, and 28 seniors, and also 36 graduate students. The research that he provided showed that the evidence of having high positive and low negative attitudes towards police, while having high confidence levels and low levels of fear towards militarized police. So it leads to the conclusion that individuals across the United States can have either a positive or a negative view of militarizing the police. It goes without saying that there are things that need to be implemented in order to gain consistency in how we utilize and the outcomes that militarized police provide. And that one effect would be the training component. I'm going to use myself as an example. As that law enforcement officer, we train twice a quarter. So that's twice every 3 months. And that's throughout the entire year. That consistency, that repetitiveness that we gain throughout our trainings is paramount to the success of the entity that I work for. Now, you have certain police departments that train only at the very beginning in their academy, and they don't do any further training after that. That causes these bad situations from happening, and those are the situations that come out on the news in bad light to the militarization of police. I feel that providing sufficient training, repetitive training, consistently throughout the entire year, throughout the tenure of the officer, is something that's going to be beneficial not only for that one officer or agent, but also the civilian population in which they live in. So allowing advocacy groups to provide resources and tools for police entities across the United States, it will greatly impact the performance of militarized police in their high stressful situations. I greatly feel that militarized police is a necessity in the United States now and moving forward. Once again, my name is Antonio Davila. I hope you enjoyed my video on the militarization of police. Thank you.